Let me welcome you to another session of our series entitled Building a Faith That Works. And today we're going to talk about how to win over temptation. That is, our passage reference is James 1:12 to 18. And today I want us to look at what God has to say about man's problem. Temptation. This is man's oldest problem. It goes all the way back to Adam, and we all eventually face it. No, that sometimes when you know what's right to do, it's difficult to say no. Hindi po ba? Alam na natin pero parang hirap pa tayong tanggihan yung mga bagay na bawal. The Bible talks about two different kinds of challenge. One is called trials, and the other is called temptation. But both of them use the same word in Greek, perasmos. Kaya pag binasa mo to ay dapat intindihin natin yung implikasyon sa Griego. Sometimes it's translated trials, sometimes temptation. But I think it doesn't matter, because sometimes a situation can be both a trial and a temptation, right? But to distinguish them, this is how the difference is that trials are situations designed by God in order to help us grow. Ulitin ko po, Trials are situations designed by God in order to help us grow. Temptations are designed by the devil in order to cause us to sin. I hope you saw the difference between the two. Now let me bring you to a passage verse. It's found in James 1 verse 12. Sabi dito, great blessings belongs to those who are tempted and remain faithful after they have proved their faith. God will give them the reward of eternal life. God promised this to all people who love Him. There are great blessings. Sabi sa binasa natin James 1 verse 12, there are great blessings for enduring temptation. Great blessings comes when your life is under control. And if your life is under control, there's no bad habit. No devastating bad habit in you. And when you know how to say no to temptation, it produces great blessings in your life. James says, when you understand temptation and when you overcome it, when you learn to say no, then you begin to really live. It is a crown which is life. And life here means abundant life. Kaya may iisip po natin, abundancy is not just all about money, but being happy and being peaceful. And so I would like to share with you 5 principles in handling temptation. Number 1, be realistic. Be realistic. James 1 verse 12, happy are those who remain faithful under trials, because when they succeed in passing such a test, they will receive as their reward the life which God has promised to those who love Him. James 1 verse 12. Let's face the fact. You will be tempted, because all people are tempted, even Christians. All of us are tempted. Kaya hindi pa sabihin sa akin na, naku, basta na sa Panginoon na ako, hindi na ako matutokso. That is wrong. Sinabi nga rito sa binasa natin, when they succeed in passing a test, ibig sabihin, temptation will come to everyone. It's just a matter of time. Just a matter of time. Kaya po, kahit na sabihin natin na tayo po laging nagdadasal, nasa Panginoon, nahandyan pa rin po ang temptation. Everybody is tempted, Even if you if you are too spiritual. The more you grow toward the Lord, the more you're going to be tempted. In fact, life, it is a fact of life. And it is a reality to all of us that we are all tempted. If I'm gonna bring you to 1 Corinthians 10 verse 13, it says there, the only temptation that you have are the same temptations that all people have. So, ulitin ko po dapat malinaw po tayo, temptation is not yet a sin. No? It is not a sin to be tempted. It is a sin to give in to temptation. Sabi nga po sa Hebrews 4 verse 15, Jesus, our high priest, is able to understand our weakness. When Jesus lived on earth, He was tempted in every way. He was tempted in the same ways we are tempted, but never sinned. Hebrews 4 verse 15. So, what does it mean? Temptation proves you're human, not that you're evil. It is not a sin to be tempted. It is a sin to give in to temptation. And the more committed you are, the more you're going to be tempted. Ganun po talaga ang takbo niyan, no? Talagang sabi nila, pag ikaw daw ikaw sa Panginoon sobrang lapit, ang temptation malapit din sa iyo. Kaya huwag kang magtaka, no? So, number 1, be realistic. Number 2, be responsive. James 1:13 says, whenever you feel tempted to do something bad, you should not say, God is tempting me. Evil cannot tempt God, and God Himself cannot tempt anyone. James 1 verse 13. What does it mean? It only means that we need to accept responsibility. Don't blame other people for your problems. Siya kasi, kaya ako nagka-problema, ginalit niya ako, natukso ako, nagalit naman ako. Iba dyan, kaya naman nabuntis ko yan, kasi nga inakita ko. Don't blame other people. Be responsive. And, we love to blame. Kagaya nga nung unang temptation, si Adam, nag-blame na rin siya, blame na si Eva, blame naman ni Eva yung ahas. So, be responsible. Let's face the reality. We are in a society of irresponsibility. Nobody wants to take the blame. No? We always blame society. We blame the government. We blame the environment. We blame heredity. No? We blame our parents. We blame our spouse. We blame the devil, and there are people who even blame God. Be responsive. No? Ikaw yung may tukso, dapat ikaw yung makipag-deal sa tukso na yon. Don't blame anybody else. Be responsible. And don't blame God, and don't blame other people. It's a sign of immaturity. Number 1, ulitin ko po, is be realistic. Number 2, be responsive. Number 3, be ready. When temptation comes, be ready. Be prepared for it. Peter says, be on your guard. And Jesus said, watch and pray that you enter not into temptation. Paul said, put on the whole armor of God and be ready. Be prepared. In James 1:14-16 says, but people are tempted when they are drawn away and trapped by their own evil desires. And their evil desires conceived and give birth to sin. And sin, when it is full grown, gives birth to death. Do not be deceived, my dear brothers and sisters. James 1:14-16. So, what does it mean? Temptation does not warn you in advance. One of the reasons it is called temptation is because you don't know when it's coming. Or coming from. It catches you by surprise. And you got to be ready on your guard. No? Dapat lagi kang handa. We are most vulnerable after a tremendous success. Yan talaga ang process niya. Pag sobrang saya natin, parang, o kaya we are so successful, nako, yan ang mga temptation. Usually, dumating yung yumayabang ka. So, I also want to share with you how does temptation operates. And let's try to dissect these verses. How does temptation operates? In James 1 verse 14 says, you are tempted by the evil things you want. James 1 verse 14. So sabi, the first step of temptation is what? Desire. Is an inside job. No? Hindi sa labas, yung loob, yung ating desire, yung ating pagnanasa. You know, most desires are okay, but you couldn't live with because you couldn't live without desires. We desire to eat, we desire to drink, sleep, we have sexual desire, and there's a lot of desire to accomplish. But God gives us these desires, no? And those desires are good desires. And they are actually gift. But in any desire out of control, no? Any desire out of control becomes destructive. Tandaan po natin yan, no? Kapag, paski sa pagkain, kapag sobra pagkain, nakakaroon ka ng sakit. No? Pagka nga sobra sa sex, talagang manghihina ka din, di ba? Sobra sa inom, no? Delikado rin yan. Lahat ng hindi kontrolado, nagiging kasalanan. You are consumed, or all of us are consumed and obsessed by a lot of things, di ba? Food, work, having fun, sex, money, legitimate. Sometimes they are legitimate desires. Again, it becomes a problem when it becomes out of control. Another thing here is that temptation is like a steel in a magnet. There is an inward and outward part. There is an outward circumstance, but there's an inward drive or desire. If it wasn't for the inward desire, you wouldn't be tempted. Doon galing yan, no? Galing ito sa ating pagnanasa. It starts on the inside. It is often the fulfillment of a legitimate desire in the wrong way at the wrong time. Yun po yun. For example, gusto mo lang makilala yung babae na yon. Dahil nga sa gusto niyang makilala, dahil maganda siya, masarap siyang kasama, that's all legitimate. Pero pag dumami yan, may asawa ka pa naman, it becomes temptation. So it always starts with the desire. Ano yung tsokolate? Bili tayong tsokolate, mura ang chocolate. Bili tayo, legitimate desire. Masarap, mura na, this legitimate. Pero pag bumili ka ng maraming tsokolate dahil siya ay mura, anong mangyayari niyan? Magkakaroon ka ng diabetes. Okay? Laging may lumalabas na masama, pag sumusobra yan. So, meron siyang inward desire, meron siyang outward circumstance. Now, let's go to James 1 verse 14 again. Sabi, your own desire leads you away and traps you. James 1 verse 14. Ulitin ko po. Your own desire leads you away and traps you. James 1 verse 14. So what does it mean? It always starts with the desire, then Satan moves to deception. No? Meron ka munang desire, tapos gagawin ni Satan, gagamitin niya yon nang sa ganon, linlangin ka niya. Temptation always looks better than it really is. And desires turns to deception, and deception eventually turns to disobedience. Naiintindihan niyo po ako, mga kapatid. Kaya kung minsan masamang kumita ng pera, mag-abroad ka. Pero pag kumita ng pera na usapan, masama na. Di po ba? Kaya dapat tignan natin yung mga desires natin. So ano yung sinasabi natin nung una? Sinasabi, your own desire, no? Yung una, desire muna. Pangalawa, that desire will be used by the devil, and he wants you to overuse it by deceiving you. Pangatlo, then there, James 1 verse 15, then their evil desires conceive and gives birth to sin. James 1 verse 15 rather. what begins in your mind results in action. Then it starts in your well, okay, ulitin ko ah. What begins in your mind results in action. So what happened? It starts in your imagination. And the battle starts with your thoughts. It moves from thought to action. So makikita nyo po, no? Una, meron ka lang desire, and then Satan will deceive you. Then you want to act upon it. Okay? Act upon it. Ulitin ko po, no? Pwede ko sabihin na, first, the devil gets your attention, then he gets you to have an attitude, then he gets you to commit the action. Nakukuha niyo po ba? No? So, what starts in your mind eventually comes out in your life. It always begins in the imagination. So, when you flirt with it, you will fall. No, sigurado. Surely you will fall for it. I want to continue. James 1 verse 15. When it's fully grown, gives birth to death. So, what is death? Death is the exact opposite of living. If you overcome temptation, you get the crown of life. But the wages of sin are death. So, death is separation or spiritual separation from God. James says, we are free to choose in any way we want to live. We have a choice. But I want you to listen to this. You are free to make choices. I am free to make choices, but I am not free to choose the consequences. Dapat maisip po natin yun. Pwede tayong kumilos ng gusto natin, ngunit hindi po natin kayang kontrolin yung magiging resulta nito. So, in order to overcome temptation, in order to break a bad habit, first, you've got to be realistic and admit you have a problem, then got to be responsible and not blame anybody else and quit making excuses. Then get ready by understanding what happens during temptation so you can learn how to avoid it. Ulitin ko po, tatagalogin ko. Be realistic po tayo. May problema, may temptation. Be responsible, kayang tanggihan. Pwedeng hindi rin. At di pwedeng mali siya ng ibang tao sapagkat tayo ito ay nakasalang dito. Then intindihin natin ba't dumating sa atin yung problema yun. So that's how temptation operates. So, let's go to number 4. Yung number 4 major, kasi kanina, diba, be ready. Ano po ba yung pinag-usapan natin kanina na 5 principles of handling temptation? Be realistic, no? Be responsible, be ready, be responsible. Tapos, and then number 4, be refocused. Be refocused. So, if the temptation begins with our inner thoughts, then changing what we think about is the key to overcoming it. This is the principle of replacement, the key to overcoming temptation. Now, the key to overcoming temptation is not to fight temptation, but simply refocus your thoughts. Change your attention. Sabi ko nga kanina, ang tawag ito, it is called the principle of replacement. Sabi po sa Philippians 4 verse 8, brothers and sisters, continue to think about what is good and worth your praise. Think about what is true and honorable and right and pure and beautiful and respected. Philippians 4 verse 8. Because why is this? Why there is Philippians 4 verse 8? Because the more you fight a feeling, the more it grabs you. The more you fight a feeling, the more it grabs you. So don't try to argue with the devil. The devil is a lot better at all than you are. He's had thousands of years of experience. So when temptation calls, drop the receiver and forget it. So, huwag mong patulan. Ako nga, pag sinabi may dumaan na babae, unang tingin, wow, she's beautiful. Pangalawang tingin, wow, she's sexy. Pangatlong tingin, I want to know her. Di ba? Ano yung problema tayo dyan, no? Don't entertain it. So that's number 4. Number 4 is be refocused. Number 5 and last is be reborn. Be reborn. You know, the single most important principle in breaking bad habits and getting control of your life is to let God have control of it. Get Him in your life so He can start changing your character. Allow the Lord. Hindi kaya lang yan ng mga libro, ng mga self-help books. God made you and He knows your switch. He knows your on and off. You know, you don't have enough power in your own willpower. That's why we all keep falling. What we need is some supernatural power. We need Jesus Christ in our lives. We need to ask Christ in. Ask Him to make the changes and give you the power you need to do what you know is right to do. You know, you will not be able to say no to temptation unless you first learn to say yes to God. You will not be able to say no to temptation until you first learn to say no to God. So those are the 5 principles that you need to remember, no, in order to overcome temptations. Now, what are there resources for you need in order to fight temptation? Well, number 1, the most important thing is be a part of a community. Fellowship with other Christians. You will not make it if you do not have any fellowship with other Christians. No, we were not meant to fight the battle by ourselves. Get involved with some Christian friends. Get involved in a Bible study, a small group. Find a place where you can share. Meet some friends. Then begin to share on a God level. You know, temptations are common to man. So when you're able to talk about a problem, you're able to get control of it. So revealing your feelings is the beginning of healing. If you hold it in you and you don't tell anybody, it just gets worse and becomes something that scares you to death. Mahirap po, tinatago ang kasalanan, dumalaki, no? And bubugbugin ka niya one day, babalikan ka niyan. And the second resource is get into the Word, get into God's Word. You know, the Bible is our secret weapon against temptation. It is the truth. Jesus said, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. So, if you want to be free, or do you want to be free from the bad habit that you're having, fill your mind with this book. Refocus. You need to refocus your mind to the Word of God. Would you pray with me? You may be struggling in an area which has been bothering you for years. What is your weakness? What is your hot button? And where does Satan bait you? Say, Lord, you know what it is. I've got a tendency to exaggerate, be double-minded, not to stand up for what I know is right, but be wishy-washy, always worry about what other people think. Became sarcastic and I say some hurtful things to my wife, husband, children, friends. I am insensitive to the needs of my spouse. I tend to be selfish. And there is something in my life that is out of control. My time is out of control, Lord. My spending is out of control. My weight, my exercise. I just keep falling in the same area and I feel bad about it. just confess it to Him. Confess it to God. He knows your frame. He loves you. He's not going to condemn you. He wants to forgive you. Wipe the slate clean. He wants to start over today. That's why He brought you here. He wants you to hear this talk. Just say to God, God, I want to be realistic about this. It is a problem in my life, and actually I don't drink too much or whatever. I admit it to Him. I accept responsibility. Don't blame your parents, don't blame your spouse, don't blame your boss or anybody. Admit there is a weakness. There would be no outside temptation if there were no inward drive that matches it. Be ready. Lord, help me to study your word so that I'll know how the devil tries to get at me. Help me to recognize those areas of weakness and avoid them. Help me to refocus on you and to fill my mind with the good things and true things, the right things. Not to resist my feelings, but to replace them with what you have to say. Most of all, if you've never opened up your heart to the Lord, just do this. Say, Jesus Christ, I want to be reborn. I want a fresh start on life. Would you forgive all the sins I've committed and help me to start over today? You know He will. That's why He died on the cross for you. Just say, Jesus Christ, come into my life and be the manager and controller of my life. And He will. Let's pray this. Lord, you promised to make a way out of this temptation. Give me the strength. Some of you need to break off a bad relationship. Some of you are flirting in the wrong areas. Just say, Lord, help me to quit compromising. Help me to do what's right. And He will help you. And if you come to Him with an open, sincere heart and say, God, you know all about me. I can't fool you. Help me to get temptation over this, or get victory over this temptation. Lord, I want to thank you for those days, Lord God, that spared me from some serious consequences. And Lord God, I want to thank you for accepting my heart today as I open up for you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.